Spirit Team, I would like to connect with you in regards to answering questions. The goal with this is to continue to develop my connection, strengthening. We are grateful for this connection and thrilled for this deepened relationship. Please continue with your questions. Are we not remembering our past lives and not knowing life after death because this knowledge is not necessary for our current life? We would like to share that this is always fitting and to remind the vessel that things are within divine timing. The vessel often is pondering and questioning what life is like after you expand back into your full self or return home, as he likes to say. In a sense, yes. Some of you will utilize this understanding that this information isn't of service to where you are at vibrationally in your human experience. And so we would share that as humans, most of you that are listening to this will have experiences or have already had experiences that are remembrances before, if you will, to use these terms, your current incarnation. We will use the vessel as an example. He is often seen in his dream state other aspects of his self that are currently assisting him now in this incarnation. And so to remember the totality of all experiences would, in a sense, cause your human to not be able to function throughout this human experience. And so, for now, as you continue to grow in this path, it is of service to use these words, chunk them up, to remember bits and pieces to support you, to guide you, and to move you forward. There will be, at a certain period of time, as your belief systems, understandings, and physical upgrades, if you will, unfold, you will be able to handle and hold more of this knowledge, to tune into it when it's absolutely of service, instead of just, as the vessel does often, desire to know this out of simple interest. All of it can be utilized for service, but if you are on the path, as this vessel has done, to gain insights, to be of service and value in this way, it does not fully complete the picture of why you are present at this time. So, to put this simply, yes, most of you will have experiences or remembrances of other lives, of life after this physical incarnation or returning home, but you will come to your own terms in how this will be of service to you and your higher self. Those of you who continue to seek ascension are already on the ascension path, and so the blossoming of this effect will bring more rememberings or understandings to assist you along the path. We would like to end this with a reminder that the vessel receives often. The human is unlimited potential, and therefore the only thing that can limit the human is itself. And so as this belief system comes to fruition and blossoms, there is no limitation of what can be accessed, remembered, utilized in alignment for yourself and your higher self. We hope this answers your question. Thank you, team. Could one soul reincarnate to more than one body at a time? This is somewhat of a layered question, if you will, and we use these words intentionally. The soul is infinite, always expanding, and what we are sharing with the vessel is the remembrance of the teachings Bashar gave of how your body does not have a soul. You are a soul that has a body. And if you so desire, please feel free to look this up, as the explanation is perfectly stated by Bashar. In essence, your soul, that is, we will use an analogy to keep it simple, as some of you we are seeing are not interested in looking this up. So we will keep it brief. Imagine a pie. You are, as the soul, the pie, but you can, in a sense, slice the pie and put that slice into, as it's created and focused in down on the human mind, a portion of that pie into the human mind. But you are always that whole pie. But you fractalize or split a piece of you that is always connected to the whole you into this human form. And as you do so, you gain wisdom and insights that you couldn't do necessarily in this way without splitting a part of you, a piece of you, into the human form. But you are always the whole, and within the whole is the fractal of you, that piece of pie that split off as the human form. And your science in years to come will mirror this. And so we simply state that because of these layers, your soul can create the human experience within itself in a multitudes of ways and times. And so, yes, in a sense, your whole self can fractalize into and incarnate into other human forms or non-human forms. There's many experiences that can be had that are available as a soul, as an eternal being. We would like to clarify, as often we have individuals confuse this with saying that I, the vessel that is incarnated right at this moment in time, the fractal that is the whole aspect of the soul self, is also all of these other lives. And in that sense, that isn't the case. The soul, whole self, can fractalize in infinite ways to have an infinite set of experiences. But let's say the personality that is Aaron is not fractalizing and again having another incarnation. There is not the dual or that sense of consciousness as Aaron living as Tim or Terry or any other individual. You are uniquely and individually your human personality. And then as the higher dimensional self, which is another fraction or fractal of the soul self, in this sense is layered. And so we feel this suffices to answer the question. But of course, if more detail is required, we would be happy to share at a future time. Thank you, team. Is the use of cell phones hurting our bees and animals and the earth? And will they adapt okay to that frequency? This is a few part question, so we'll answer this part, the first part. Your cellular frequencies, like all things, emit radiation. This is at a very low level, and often your body and the creatures that inhabit Earth and Earth itself can transmute this energy with relative ease. Smaller creatures, like bees, insects, and even some small animals, can be affected by this with prolonged use. They're showing me a what looks like a transformer tower. So you'll notice that a lot of creatures that are around um, like cell towers don't make it their home. They may walk through or fly by, and you'll see birds, sitting there, but often they're not making it their home. We would say that this understanding is to state that, yes, like all things, it can affect you, but to a point of detriment at this now moment in time is not prevalent. Earth itself is very resilient, and these things do not affect them. There are greater things contributing to Earth's detriment than cell phone signals or towers. The second part of this question is, do sound bowls and gongs help heal us and animals and the earth? Yes, these, in a sense, are permission slips to help allow you the belief system that healing is possible in other modalities. Just like the previous question, you are a fractal of your soul self. Your soul self is infinite and cannot be killed or damaged in the way that the human body can experience. As Earth continues on its path, and thus the human and its inhabitants on it continue its path, you will find that the more you cultivate the belief system and understanding that healing is instant, is capable of full recovery, if we would use these words, or full realignment, the more that you accept this for yourself and bring this in to fruition in the human experience. And so you can use many myriads of modalities for healing. You will reach a point where your thoughts will simply bring about healing. You will see what looks like physical imbalance, see the aspects of them, and know the foundational truth behind them and heal this imbalance immediately. You are noticing your technology mapping out the sequence of the body, as for many years, very few understood the body. The body was mostly a mystery, but you guys in human form are now mapping this, and will be able to better understand this as your consciousness continues to rise collectively. We continue. This question is asking, is it possible to fully heal NPD? We would like to express that some of you have come into this life with an ailment or imbalance for two reasons. One, for the capability to bring about realignment and, in human words, full healing. Some of you are utilizing an ailment to cultivate a theme of lessons, how to overcome, in a sense, chronic tiredness, how to overcome and embody what it feels like to be in an unhealthy body. We would state that creating discernment with your higher self should be cultivated first, as this connection knows you better than you know yourself. It is you, but without the negative aspects of the egoic self. And so it can see through the illusion that you may be participating in. As you develop this relationship, just as this vessel has done for himself, you will come to realize that many of the challenges you have will be brought to the light or to your human awareness to then cultivate a series of choices. Do I desire to continue to live in this story that I've been participating in? Or do I desire to choose something else? And we know, even as the vessel is saying this, it is often easier said than done to cultivate this connection, to uplift belief systems that are no longer serving and let them go. But in the perspective of your higher self, it is a simple set of choices. And with those choices, it is not to condemn or judge. It is in the knowing of your choices, even if you repeat them, are of service to you, and you, at any point with your divine free will, can let them go. And so, as you let go of non-serving beliefs and cultivate that connection with your higher self, through that process, you may choose with your free will to let go of that ailment or imbalance and put practices in place to realign and remove, in a sense, that ailment. We hope this answers your question. This is a great question. Is it possible to overcome negative self-talk forever? This one, the vessel, has worked on thoroughly for many years. We are reminding him what we have shared and, in a sense, reminiscing on what has been learned through this experience. Negative self-talk is also many layered. And so we will do our best to keep it simple. First, cultivating discernment. As the vessel is learning to connect with higher self in his team, first was discernment on your emotional state. Where are you at? What is causing you discomfort and unease? Is it stemming from not taking care of yourself in the ways that you feel called to do? From there, it is in the understanding, as the majority of you on the Ascension path are in tune with the energetic states around you. And so, as you are learning, many of you were taught out of how to connect inward and state, is this me or is this outside of me? And so many of you are feeling the upliftment and realignment of the energetic state of the collective. And as this vessel has done, has confused that for its emotional state. As you create discernment in going, is this how I am truly feeling? Or is this coming from outside of me? And we hear you stating, how do you know? It is simple. If you are in a relative calm state, or what the vessel calls neutrality, where there is contentment and joy in regards to going about one's day, and then out of the blue, you are irritable, upset. Old memory pulls forward out of the blue. This is often stemmed from the collective upliftment. And as you do this, you will cultivate practices to be loving to oneself. And so this can take many different forms. But to keep it brief, often it is to simply bring love to that version of self and state, thank you for teaching me. You are also coming along with me on the joys of this ascension path. And so you will not be left behind. But this is no longer required for my learning. And so I release you back to love. As each aspect of self is always present, even if it is, in a sense, buried beneath the darkness because it was hidden out of embarrassment or whatever emotion you felt. Once you cultivate these practices, you will be able to then continue your path of realigning those negative patterns. Some are just for you to view. We will give an example. The vessel often was not in alignment with higher self, and with this gave great opportunities for growth. As these times come forward, we will use a simple example. The vessel crashed a car and often would punish himself for doing so. Instead, he brought forward realignment to state this was the opportunity to let go of non-serving belief patterns and choose something different. And in that sense, was able to let go of the embarrassment and guilt, even if at first it pops forward as residual from the past. It is then to bring loving embrace and state, thank you for your service. I release you now. Whatever way feels aligned and authentic to you, you can call it. And Vessel took almost 6 months to a year of course correction. But as you will find, As each of you chooses a different path or makes a different choice, the collective continues to release what is no longer serving, and it will become second nature. Well, while this seems daunting, it's simply a day process. There's times now, even for the vessel, that because of him not taking care of himself, requiring the rest or exercise or the food that is nurturing to the vessel, old patterns or memories pop forward. But at this point, the vessel knows it is simply to release and realign, and that is all that is required. In the very near future, for some not even years away, it will be to a point where you do not even have this ailment, if you will, as some call it. It is of service and is to help support you in going, I am not in alignment with what I want to be. And so now I have a marker, a awareness, a point of duality to tell me that I do not prefer this. And so what is needed for me? And this is an opportunity to connect to your higher self or to whatever you feel aligned with that is of service to you and guide you back to center. We will have courses and teachings that will be present that can better help align you with what feels authentic for you in the future. But yes, it is very possible. It is, as this vessel has embodied, very capable for each and every one of you to let go of negative self-talk, even when you feel at this moment that it is an overcoming challenge, an overwhelming challenge to overcome. But it is possible. This vessel was one in which, to the point that negative self-talk was disabling to the individual. And so it is living proof that it is possible. Thank you, team. We're going to do one more. Does Pompeian Novena have a strong power to heal and change things? As stated in prior questions, you are exactly what is needed to be of change and of healing. You may cultivate your higher self to help support you in ways to put this into practice, in a sense, to cultivate the belief system that it is possible for you. But just like we stated in prior questions, it is okay to cultivate a permission slip, if you would like to use this word, to develop the changes you are seeking. But in cultivating discernment first with your higher self, you will come to a better understanding if these things are in practice for you to help glean a set of lessons or experiences. This is not to state that you are doomed to whatever it is you are desiring to change, but it is in cultivating that connection with higher self and oneself that you gain the understanding of why you're going through these experiences and why you continue to choose them. We know in some level it is unconscious, but these challenges are designed, in a sense, to help guide you back to self. And this process helps refine and release what is no longer required as you gain the awareness of higher expansion. But yes, you can call upon whatever you desire to help assist you in the changes and healing that you desire. As a reminder, cultivate the discernment of connection with higher self first, as this, in a sense, will help amplify the changes you are seeking.